everyone. Welcome to the interview series Space4Coffee. It's my pleasure to introduce the guest for today, Claudia Kessler. She's she's an aerospace engineer, which is awesome. She's the CEO and founder of Astronautin GmbH. She's a faculty member of the European Institute of Innovation and Sustainability, and she has more than 30 years of experience in the space industry. And she's also the honorary chair and the founder of Women in Aerospace Europe. Welcome, Claudia.
Thank you very much, Sahana.
Maybe now we move on to something to get to know another side of you. So we're gonna move to some lightning questions. So you know how it works. Mars or moon?
Mars.
Earth observation or space exploration?
Space exploration.
Mechanical engineering or electrical engineering?
Mechanical engineering.
Okay, at this point I have to ask, Italy or Germany to live in?
Italy.
Awesome. Thanks so much. That was fun to get to know a bit more informal side to you. So start off with, could you briefly tell us about like how the first few steps of your career was and how you progressed and to got to who you are today?
Yeah, well, I'm still Generation Moon, so I saw the moon landing on TV when I was a child, and that inspired me so much that I always wanted to become an astronaut. So in the end, I took a lot of effort to learn maths and physics at school, and then to study aerospace engineering. In the 1980s, I was, one of a very, very little number of women at this technical study at the Technical University in Munich. But I enjoyed it. I mean, it was tough, but I enjoyed it a lot. And then I was really excited when I got my first job, already as a student, but then also later after my exam, because I got to work in the human spaceflight area. I got to work directly with astronauts to prepare the German Mir missions when the first German astronauts flew to the Russian Mir space station. And that was a very, very exciting time. At that time, it was the opening of Russia and all that. At the moment, we see something different happening, unfortunately. But I was really in heaven with my first job. It was perfect.
That sounds amazing. I can only imagine the energy and the environment, how it could have been. That sounds amazing. Okay, then I think one other thought I had was, what's the most important skill needed for your career, and how do you normally train yourself to pick up new skills?
Yeah, I think besides the technical background, the most important thing for the career is communication. It's communication, communication, and communication. It's about talking to people, because I mean, we're not working with screws, we're working with people. And that's what I love about the space field, about working in space, because it's so international and intercultural. So we got to know so many different people, so many different cultures, and work in so many different places that it's amazing. And but communication is the key to that. And actually, when we were students already at the Technical University in Munich, we founded a student organization. And the first thing we booked was a communication training, because that was not part of the technical study at that time. But we realized that it's so essential that not only, of course, you and I, we talk, but also to present in front of a group of people, to know how to pronounce things, how to explain things to a group of people. And that's essential.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Yeah.
I think
and how
your
do you
second
train?
question was about how I'm going to train myself.
Yes.
Well, we trained a lot in the recent years, because everybody, I guess, went through this transformation process of suddenly becoming digital, like we are here today. So I'm learning new tools all the time for our digital business. And I'm just doing online training for that, basically, or do it by learning, by doing, try and error kind of stuff, because I'm not a person that is good to listen to lectures.
Yeah. Okay, so trying to dive a bit into your path so far, what kind of challenges did you maybe see on the way? A few major ones, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, of course, as a student, it was kind of challenging to be the only woman in a very male environment. There were professors that clearly told the women that, you know, you're not made for this job. You can't think three-dimensional or things like that. So you better don't even try. That was hard. And then later on, when I climbed up in the career ladder, and I still was the only woman, then of course it was you had to learn how to deal with the men around you, and to be visible and to be accepted by them. I hope it's changing now, and we have much more women also, thanks to women in aerospace on all levels and in all kinds of jobs. But of course, I still see a lot of panels from the space business where it's a pure male panel. We call it a manel. And I'm still very sorry about that.
Yeah, it's yeah, definitely something that we hope to see change in. Yeah, and thanks to I don't know, so many inspiring women like you and Astronautin, it's I think I hope to see more change for sure. And I'm hopeful thanks to all of you around. Yeah. What advice could you maybe give someone who's newly stepping into the aerospace sector in this day and time?
Yeah, I think even before you step into, you should think about what you want to become. That's the most important thing. I mean, besides becoming an astronaut, which of course requires a lot of luck. For example, I've always been in the wrong age at the wrong time. So I didn't ever have a chance to apply even for an astronaut position. So besides that, you have to find out if you're more the technical person that really likes to work hands-on in a clean room with a satellite, or if you're more the theoretical person that likes to do research, or if you're like me, the management person that wants to be around and talk and network and be active. And once you know that about your character, then I think you can start to look for the right position for yourself. Because again, it's important that you find something that you're happy with and that fits your personality. I think that's very important.
Yeah. Would you also suggest the same for someone stepping from another sector into the aerospace sector? Or would you have another kind of advice for people changing their sector?
I think it's the same. I think the aerospace sector needs a lot of people. So I'm sure there are opportunities for people from the non-space sector, especially now with all the startups, with the new businesses growing, with the jobs that are getting much more varied than maybe that was in the past. But again, you need to know your personality. You need to know what kind of job you are looking for, you like to, and you can be best in.
Since you've had so many years of experience working in the space industry, what would your view be on how to improve both like recruitment and also retention of employees in a company?
Yeah, I think recruitment, and especially since I've been the CEO of a HR company for quite a long time, an engineering services company, recruitment, I think we in the space sector have to be open for accepting more people from the non-space world. I think for a long time, the space sector has been a little bit closed and kind of not letting outsiders in. And yeah, you have to have a space engineering study to work in the space field. And I think that has to open up a lot. Not only because there is a need of people, but also because it brings again a variety of insights and a variety of characters into the space world, which is important. With regard to the retention of the people, I think again, it's important to take them serious. It's important to make sure that they are working in jobs that they like to do, that that reflect their strengths, that kind of are similar to that what they want to do, and then to grow, to see, and not only to grow by learning, but to grow by doing as well, to see the strengths of the people and to foster that strengths.
And with your probably most recent experience while you were working previously in the HR, did you see issues with like skills gap and recruiting new employees? And because we're the Skills Gap working group, so we're interested to hear about any insights you have on the Skills Gap.
Yeah, there's one problem that especially the skills gap exists a lot when you hire students that come right from the university. When we were working for big companies, they always wanted persons with at least 3 to 5 years experience, which of course is not very fair to the students. And also they don't exist because normally you don't change a job after 3 to 5 years if you're happy with your job. So there, I think the companies have to change and have to build a program that kind of takes people out of university and teaches them on the job into their new role, into their working role. But I clearly see that, at least in many, not always, but in many places, there is a skill gap from how you get out of university into what is required to work in a job.
And in general, like if you see that there's a slight mismatch between the university and the companies, what do you suggest?
Yeah, internships is definitely number one. Go out, get to work, or also working student jobs. The earlier as the student you start to work in parallel in the space industry, to do some student jobs there or some internships there, the more you get into the projects, the more you get into the way that is worked at at industry. And on the one side, you build a network, you build connections, you get insight, you already can work on exciting projects, and you build up the skills that are looked for afterwards to get a job.
So I do know that your company also offers trainings, and I've had the really amazing opportunity to be part of a few of them. And it's also helped me figure out my personality and how I can fit into the aerospace sector. So can you tell a bit more about that?
There's a lot of similarity between astronauts and leaders, and there's a lot of things you can learn for leadership, but also for your own personality that can be taken out of astronaut training and transformed into leadership training. So we developed, we call them space trainings for non-space people, for non-space companies, for people in leadership positions, especially also for women in leadership positions. For example, the moonshot sessions. And but we also developed the Mars, the simulation training, which is a live training. It's analog, which hopefully now finally will take place after all these lockdowns and online stuff. And it's a real Mars mission where people wear spacesuits, people work on Mars and on the ground station and in the Mars habitat. And it's about team training. It's about getting to know the team better. It's also about leadership and about communication.
Really sounds very interesting. Yeah, thanks so much for all those insights. If you have any closing comments, what advice would you give?
If you see an opportunity in front of yourself, then jump at it. Don't let it go by. Be brave enough. Don't ask if you're competent enough or if it's too big for you or whatever. Take it, and you will grow into it, even if you think it's maybe too big or too difficult. You will grow with it and you will love it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for your time and your ever inspiring advice that you provide to people. I wish you the best with Astronautin and hope to see more of it.
Thank you, Sahana, and thank you to Women in Aerospace Europe for conducting this interview series. And I hope to see many, many more women in high positions, in leadership positions, in director positions in the space world in the future.